Hey, welcome to the inaugural Bansuri Bliss Composers Circle. Hopefully, you'll get your money's worth. You're the only person here, so you've got me for an hour for pretty much anything. We can do composition or writing, but we could also do anything. Um, yeah, my initial reason to start this was because I find myself writing music all the time, several days a week.
Hmm.
Mostly, I guess in part writing up potential lessons or stuff I'm inspired to write, but also I take a lot of lessons and therefore I take a lot of notes, and therefore I need a lot of time to clean up those notes and turn them into something for my personal permanent archives that, of course, does likely get used for students as well. But I find myself writing, so I figured instead of me always being kind of by myself writing, I may as well give people the opportunity to join in for an hour as I write stuff and get some of my work accomplished, and on the assumption that people out there would also have notes that they want to write up or something that they want to write up, and then I can give them input on that. And like I usually teach, the main lessons I teach are Saturdays and Sunday at, are you Eastern time or
Eastern.
Central? Eastern,
Eastern.
okay, 11 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday. Those have been going on for years, so I've
Mm.
taught many hundreds of those. But this is the first one of the Bansuri Bliss Composer Circle. So what actually ends up happening, time will tell, and that'll come down to what people find useful. So for right now. Um, I guess, you have any questions or something in particular you want to know, regardless of whether that's related to writing music, and then maybe later we can do a review of written music, or I can look at anything. Um,
Hmm. I can't think of any particular questions I came with.
okay.
I've read a lot of things. I think I understand a lot of different things. I'm sure I'll have questions, but probably in reaction to something you say rather than
Yeah.
anything I can.
Okay. Well, I did come here with a plan, and that a few days ago I started writing up a lesson. Maybe it was Friday, and I was teaching a student, and I kind of got halfway through writing it out. And then I thought of more lines that I should put down. So I was thinking I would open that up and start working on that. But first, I haven't played flute all day, and it's
Oh,
10 p.m. here. So let me just turn on my tambouring. I'm going to turn this on to Kirwani. That's a harmonic minor scale, because that's what I'm planning to write. So I'm going to play some Kirwani. So let's see. You know the harmonic minor scale?
sure. It's the one with a major leading tone, I think.
I don't even know what that means, but
Uh,
it would be like a minor scale, but with a. I'm not fully versed in Western music terminology.
oh, but I know what
I
you.
know some stuff. It's like a minor scale, but it's got a natural seventh, so it's
Yeah, that's what I meant.
okay. Okay, what did you call it? A
With the
leading.
leading tone as a major third rather than it would be like a C minor with a B natural in
Why
it
do
or
you
something.
call it the leading tone?
Oh,
What is that referring to?
because it leads to the it's like so fa mi so la ti do, like from ti to do.
Okay.
It's the
All
leading
right.
tone
Okay.
leading back to the tonic.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't often think in Western music terms unless I
Sure.
happen to be taking some Western music lessons, which I'm not these days. Though I did open up, I saw some rhythm notation the other day that I was looking at. That was kind of cool with someone teaching. It was essentially an exercise, except he's a Western classical guitar teacher, so it was all written in staff notation, just with all the note was who knows what C. Like it was all the same note, but it was using the a circle, open circle with a flag, and versus solid circle. I don't even know the names of them, so I kind of had to figure out what those things mean for quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th
Sure.
notes. Um, Anyway, the exercise he was doing, see if I can do it though. He had it written out. It was one, one, two, one, two, three, one, two, three, four, one, two, three, one, two, one. That thing. So it was written out, and I was trying to decipher it in staff notation. All right, let me play some Kirwani here. So the notes are sa, re, komal ga, shudma, that's our natural fourth, pa, komal da, sorry for the bad light, komal da, that's partly open, and then a shidni, sa. So that's your 3 half steps, 3 semitone jump. Is my sound coming through clear?
It's fine.
Okay, good. I'm gonna hit this on. Raag Kirwani, playing alap, which is the arrhythmic introduction to a raga, or beginning of a raga, we'll say. Alright, so as I said, a few days ago I started writing up a lesson in Kirwani, and I did not finish it, so I figured that would be a good thing to keep on writing right now, and in doing that I can give some of the basic concepts and things that I think about when I'm writing music. Let me turn this down. Sorry, you can unmute yourself if that meant you want to talk.
That was very coherent, very, you really got into the mood. Thank you. What time of day is that supposed to be?
Kirwani, I play it as a nighttime raga, and it's generally played at night. Kirwani, the scale is kind of, or I won't say it's worldwide, but it's found through a lot of parts of the world, certainly like Middle East, and maybe Eastern Europe and India, and South India. It's kind of thought, in North Indian music, it's thought to have been brought over from South India, and in South India, Carnatic music, they don't abide by any kind of time of day, anything. That being said, I pretty much always play it at night.
I have a Pakistani friend who has heard the music up until, until college age, at least when he moved to the United States. But he says he can tell the time of day mood of a certain raga, whereas I can't, because you think of, well, maybe the minor sounds are at night, but that's not true.
Yeah, there's not really any straightforward way to determine it. I think it's partly just kind of we'll say the Indian music culture that peep musicians have who play it have heard it at that time of day and played it at that time of day so many times that they're probably used to it and think that it's best at that time of day. But there are famous ragas like Bhairavi, which is a morning raga that's often played at night simply because there's not, or in the reason I think is because there's rarely morning concerts, yet people want to hear it. And so it was often back in the day they'd have all night concerts, which still take place occasionally, but not too often anymore. So at the end of an all night concert, it would be the morning. So people got used to hearing it as the final thing. So now maybe at the end of a nighttime concert, it'll be kind of the closing raga.
Nice. If I could just mention one other thing. On the flute that I'm talking about that I've tried different things on, I can't play most komal notes. The holes are not big enough. That's why it's small enough for my hand.
Well, you can have a small flute that has fairly large holes. Maybe, I mean, show me your flute if you want. I'll show you. This right here is my C flute. And the holes, we can see them in comparison to the F flute.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're not that much different than the F flute holes as far as the diameter goes.
Right. I think that's true on the C flute. Mine, it would be true like that. Like you say, it would be manageable. I just haven't tried it because I always think of it as too high, I guess. So,
yeah, I mean, well, one thing, it comes down to the flute maker. Like, they may just have made smaller holes, and you know, ask them, hey, I like the holes on the wide side. But yeah, C flute can be kind of, you know, these aren't often used in concerts in North Indian music because people prefer the deeper sounds. But in South Indian music, they use some pretty high-pitched flutes, and they make them sound pretty good. So I think if a person spends a lot of time on a flute, then they should get a good sound out of it.
I noticed in something I watched a raag performance, and in the middle of the one of the long sections, the person put down the flute and picked up one probably an octave higher.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden played that whole section very high, but using a little flute. And then went back to the big flute.
Well, yeah, sometimes it's an octave higher. Sometimes it's a flute that's about an octave and a half higher, but then they start instead of playing saw from 3 holes, they play from the paw, 6 holes becomes their saw, and then you know, they're on a little flute, but it's a little bit deeper than normally would be if you had 3 fingers.
We have that situation with recorders too. The recorders are pitched a 4th or 5th apart.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't have my flutes right here.
Sorry.
But, the next time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we don't need any instruments to make music. We have our voice, we have our hands, and hey, we have our pens. This is let's see if this is confirmed. This is my C flute. Yeah, see that I did not hit that well, and that's probably because that hole's a lot smaller than I'm used to. And anyway, hey, that's why we get warmed up when we pick up a new flute. Yeah, I like the flute. I just recently acquired this. All right, let's open up some music here and see what's going on. I think I'll turn that tambour in the background off. I'm going to mute you, but if you want to unmute yourself, just unmute yourself. And so let's see what we've got here. All right, can you see my screen? Okay, so we've got Kirwani. I call these ornaments scale exercises because we're going up and down the scale, so it's a scale exercise, and we're focused on ornaments. So actually the exercise that I was doing with my student was this one down here, but I turned it into number 3 thinking that it would be a lot easier to play if it were an easier ornament. Okay, so let's go through this. First off, we could look at all of this with no ornaments. Hey, I could go like this. Uh-oh, that didn't do it. All right, I take that back. Let's just imagine there's no ornaments. Hey, what are the ornaments? They're the notes that are superscript. Let me make it a little bit bigger. All right, the superscript notes. These ones are the ornamental notes, and then the big notes on the line are the main notes. And the notes that we use in Indian classical music are all showing here, okay, at least in one form or another. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. We have to memorize that order. That's how they fall. If you're used to Western music, and if you've studied Western music, you're probably used to or understand if I said this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, and that this high saw, high denoted by an octave, sorry, a dot above it is in the high octave. The high octave begins at high saw. It is exactly twice the frequency of this, which I call saw. So if I just say saw, I'm talking about that. If I say high saw, I'm talking about this. All right, now we don't ever have to write SA or RE or GA or MA or PA or DHA or NI, okay? Not when we're writing out the music, okay? We can just write the first letter of the name of the note, S, R, G, M, P, D, N, S. Everything is uppercase. Nothing here is lowercase. I encourage you to write all your notes uppercase. There is a different system that you'll see and you should be aware of when people type into their keyboard. Generally speaking, the music is degraded from how it should be written, and to make up, to do things differently, or to handle the fact that keyboards without graphic design software, it's hard to come up with like lines under things and dots over things. People change things up. And one of the ways people do that, maybe even before computers, is to write lowercase, and that would denote a flat note or a should ma. So that the lower, I won't even go into it. Let's just say there's a way to write out there where sometimes people write lowercase. I encourage you to not do that. We can discuss it another time, but let's get used to always writing uppercase notes for everything. Now, in Kirwani, I said we have a komal ga and a komal da, and we can see that it's komal because it's got a line under it. Okay, right here, the ga is komal, it's got a line under it. The da is komal, it's got a line under it. Okay, what is komal? Those are flats because we have two versions of the ga. We've got should ga, pure ga, natural third, and we've got flat ga, komal ga, flat third. Okay, sa and pa will never be flat or sharp. Okay, there's no komal sa, there's no teevra sa. All right, re and ga could be should, natural, or komal, flat. Right, you can have a komal re, not in Kirwani, but in other ragas. Okay, you can have a komal ga, you can have a komal da, and you can have a komal ni. None of those can be sharp. We don't have two names for notes in Indian classical music, as far as, or in North Indian, when I talk about Indian classical music, I'm talking about North Indian classical music. Okay, in North Indian classical music, we're not going to have two names of one note. There's komal ga. It's not going to be like in Western music where F sharp equals G flat, and you could call it either thing. We don't do that. So that kind of makes it easier in some sense to identify the notes and to talk about them. Now, two of the notes will never be sharp or flat, sa and pa. Okay, you don't have sa, sharp or flat, sa and pa. You don't have teevra, sa. Okay, you can only have one teevra note. That's a sharp note. There's only one note that can be sharpened. That's the ma. All right, you'll notice, or you will remember if you've studied Western music or looked at a piano keyboard a lot, in the major scale, the natural fourth is lower. I won't even talk about that. Let's just say the natural fourth is the lower version of the two notes. Okay, there's shudma and teevrama. Teevrama is a sharp fourth. All right, so right here, how would we do that? We'd put a vertical bar above it. All right, if I wanted a vertical bar, then I would drag this out here and I'd go like that. Nah, that's not it right there. Let's see. Do I have a better vertical bar here? There it is. All right, that would be a teevrama. That would be a sharp fourth. That's the only note that can be teevra. You won't see any other note be a teevra. Okay, so knowing that adds up to 12 total possible notes that we're going to be working with. Okay, sa and pa plus two versions of each of re, ga, da, and ni. That equals 10 total notes. And then shudma and teevrama, that's 12 total notes. Just like an octave on a piano, you can go up and hit all the notes and you'll have 12 notes in the octave. Okay. All right, let's see. Ornaments, that's what we're doing. First, what is an ornament? It's a note added on to another note. And this ornament right here, I believe, would be called a trill on a silver flute. Toodle-doo. Okay? Notes added on to another note to beautify them, to ornament them, to make the main note sound nicer and more interesting. In Indian classical music, there are a ton of ornaments. We're almost always ornamenting notes. Okay? For me anyway, I'm ornamenting more notes than I'm not ornamenting. Okay? An ornamental note is dynamic in nature. We're not hanging out on the ornamental note. The second we hit it, it's moving towards another note. Okay? Hey, let's hear it. Let's hear this line. What do I have written here? And also, hey, a dot under a note means it's in the low octave, meaning we're below sa. Sa, ni. Because this is below sa, we've got a dot under it. All right, so re, sa, ni, sa, that's a low ni. Komal ga, ga, re, sa, re, ma, ga, re, ga, pa, ma, ga, ma, da, pa, ma, pa, ni, da, pa, da, sa, ni, da, ni, high sa right there, and then re, sa, ni, sa, high re, high sa. Let's hear it. Put this back at F plus 32 cents. First, unornamented. The ascending scale is called the arohi. The descending scale is called the avarohi. All right, so every raga, I'll say most ragas, have an arohi and an avarohi. And sometimes, like here, Kirwani, it's just the same up and down, or the reverse. Whatever we did to go up, we just reverse it to come down. But sometimes the ascending scale is a good bit different than the descending scale. All right, this is heptatonic scale. 7 notes are there. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. 7 unique notes. Okay? Now, rule or fact of life. If you write music, you will have mistakes. Okay? Not necessarily mistakes like you didn't know what the music should be. You just forgot to cross your T's and dot your I's, or in this case, underline your komals and put vertical bars over your teevras and things like that. So that means we always need to double check, triple check, probably even quadruple if we're going to publish it, our work. And the more you look, the more you find. Tim?
I do have a question at this point, because you talked about the scale as it goes up and down.
Yeah.
I guess the question would be, let's say you're listening to a performance, would you expect the performer to always, and whenever there's a part of the melody that goes up, they would observe the scale, the arohi version, and they would not play, if there was a difference, they would not play that as they go up in melody anywhere it is.
In general, if it's Indian classical music and it's a raga, the performer will abide by the scale. There are certain times, like ornamental notes are kind of less noticeable, and we'll say maybe less important than the main note, where maybe something you did with the ornament you wouldn't have done with a more audible note. But in general, you will abide by the scale. So that means, like, say we have a raga where we go sa ga ma to go up, we skip the re, and then on the way down it's ma ga re sa. If I hit the ga, what I like to say, I find the traditional way and the common way that you hear Indian musicians discuss scales is a certain note is in the ascent, or it's omitted in the ascent, or it's only in the descent. To me, that's ambiguous, because what is the ascent? Does that mean if I'm coming at it, I'm ascending? What happens then if I'm planning to go down? Or what happens if I'm coming from above and I hit the note and then plan to go up? Is that ascending or descending? So for me, what I like to say, to be very clear, is for something like I just said, where I go sa ga ma, going up, but ma ga re sa, I like to say, if you play the re, then you must go down. Because then it's really clear. It doesn't matter if I'm going pani sa re from below. When I hit it, I need to come down. Or if I'm coming from above, sani da pa ma ga re. Because that tells us what's going to happen when I hit that note. Okay, so that means if I want to go up, I can't hit the re because I'm going to have to come down, so I better skip it. Sa ga. Now from ga, I have my choice, because I can hit ga and go up or come down. All right, so those are kind of the rules, and it depends on the raga as well. Like some ragas, it's really strict, and for me, I don't want to break that rule. And some raga, there's a bit more leeway, or maybe if I'm doing a ton and playing something really fast, then it becomes less important. And I also notice that in compositions, which in Indian classical music, what's referred to as the composition is usually, say, 4 lines long. What's a line? It's usually a rhythmic cycle, or maybe 2 rhythmic cycles. It'll take like 5, 6, 7 seconds. It depends what speed, but it may take just 5 or 6 seconds to play a line, and there may just be 4 composed lines. So it's a small portion of the 20, 30, 40, 50 minute raga, which we're improvising on. But in that composition, I find that a lot of, not a lot, but it would not be uncommon to have something happen in it that breaks the rule. And that's just who knows what composer, artistic choice, and then it's up to you, unless you have a guru who tells you, do it this way or don't do it that way, or you can do that all the time or don't do that other times, to kind of figure out, if it's in the composition, maybe I am allowed to do it now and then. So, there's rules in Indian classical music. There's tons of rules, but, there's times where we don't necessarily have to abide by them, and I think that just comes from experience and hopefully a good teacher providing guidance. it's those things when I'm not sure about something, like, is that allowable? That's what gives me trouble, because then I don't have full confidence in what I'm doing. So those are the kind of things I like to, ask a teacher. Am I allowed to do that? Otherwise, we just have to listen to ourselves, see if it sounds good, listen to recordings, try if we have a good enough ear, maybe we can listen, like, so-and-so famous artists who I respect and like their music played the raga and didn't do that at all the whole recording, and therefore I probably won't do it either.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
All right, let me open this back up. We were having a overview, I guess we could say, of writing and reading Indian classical music. So yeah, we were I played the scale with no ornamentation. Let me do that one more time, and then I'm going to play it up and down with the ornaments. And these ornaments in particular, I should write it down here. Let me go grab some. That's not where I'm at. This is an old thing. Hey, that's not when I wrote it either. Thank God. Time. That's where I am. I usually date and locate my writings, and then I can kind of remember or know where it was done. August 5th, really, it wasn't the 5th, it was the 3rd, it was the 1st when I did this. Started it anyway. Okay, so anyway, these are murkis. I'll just write murki. Alright, so murki is a type of ornament, and as I was taught it by my guru Pandit Vijay Raghav, he would only use that word referring to this ornament, in precisely this ornament. What is this ornament? It's the ornament where, if sa is the main note, whatever the main note is, the ornament starts one note above the main note, one note in the scale above the main note, and then you play the main note, and then the note below the main note, and then you come to the main note. Okay, so if sa is the main note, re, sa, ni, sa. Re is above sa, and then sa, and then the note below sa, which is ni, and then sa. So that's what for many years, that was the only usage of murki that I ever heard. But my guru by Pradeep Kaladkar, who sometimes joins us on Sundays for Bansuri Bliss members' lessons, he uses the term for any ornament that's got a bunch of notes. Okay, so like a fast ornament with a lot of notes taking place. This fits both of those definitions. Sorry, I didn't want the rhythm there. If you ever mess anything up, make sure to play it again at least one more time and get it correct right there. I was in my head thinking, hey, what's next in here, without actually looking at the paper, which is the whole goal of writing it down, right? So that we can look at it and sight read it and remember it. Okay, so ornaments make the music sound more interesting. Now I'll say that the more notes there are, the more ornamental notes there are on the main note, in all likelihood, the harder the ornament gets. Okay, that's why I was teaching my student this one down here, but this one has 4 ornaments, and I thought, let's then just start this one. Let's turn that into number 3 and make number 1 this, which is our standard famous murki right there. And then what I'm going to do here for number 2, I'm going to keep 3 notes here, but I'm going to switch it up, because here we've got re, sa, ni, sa. If this is pitch, and this is time passing by. Okay, we go re, sa, ni, sa. Now let's kind of flip that thing and go ni, sa, re, sa. We're going to start below sa. So the first note is below the main note, and then the main note, and then the note above the main note. So here, one of the benefits of using graph design software is that I can easily copy things that I know will be similar, and then I can just change them up. So this one's going to become ni, sa, re, sa. Then I have to move my dots around. All right, so that's the pattern that I'm going to continue for the rest of these. Ni, sa, re, sa.
Wow.
And sa, re, ga, re. Really, what's going to happen, I can go through it quickly because I know these two notes are going to switch positions. The first and third are going to switch positions. Let's see if that turns out to be right. Re, ga, ma, ga, ga. So the ga and the pa are going to switch positions. Right now, I'm not concerned about understanding it. I found the pattern that can help me write it quickly. And hey, it would be awesome if we had some kind of notation software that could just do this stuff for us, but we don't, so we got to do it by hand. Now I can go and check it. Okay, ni, sa, re, sa, sa, re, ga, re, re, ga, ma, ga, ga, ma, pa, ma, pa, da, pa, da, ni, da, ni, sa, ni, move that dot, and ni, sa, re, sa. All right, so it looks good to me. Now let me see if I can expand it a bit. It's this one at the very top right here. We'll make it a little smaller. Maybe I should just block out the view of everything else right there. All right, now, everybody, if you ever see a mistake when I'm showing music or writing music, please tell me. The sooner the better, because then the sooner I can get it corrected. I make mistakes. You'll make mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes. The more you look, the more you find. So hopefully there won't be any, but in general, if I have a full page of music, it's going to have some mistakes. All right, now we need to do the same thing for the descent. All right, so these, what I could do here is, since they're already correctly written up here, instead of having to go through that same process again, I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to duplicate this. Hey, what am I in? I'm in Adobe Illustrator. Now, I've never met even one single person on the planet other than myself who uses Adobe Illustrator to write Indian classical music. It's kind of fine with me because I've got the nicest looking Indian classical music notation on the planet. As far as I'm concerned, if you have found something nicer, please send it my way. Anyway, I'm happy if there are people out there who want to learn Adobe Illustrator. That is how I would suggest you do it. But there is a less expensive option, and if you happen to have a premium, maybe it's included with premium Canva, or maybe just Canva for nonprofits, which I happen to have. But Affinity is a company or a software collection, and they have their version called Affinity Designer, and that would be less expensive. I've never used it for Indian classical music. I'm sure it can get the job done. You just have to kind of figure out the basics of how it works. But regardless, all this stuff can be written by hand. I wrote hundreds of pages by hand. Okay? I still write by hand. I have notebooks. I've got literally notebooks, full and half full, right here with Indian music in them. All right, we don't need any computer to do it. All right, I've got music written out. Always have a notebook nearby you to write down your stuff. All this stuff that I'm showing you could easily be written by hand. All I'm doing in Illustrator, I'm trying to reproduce in a nicer, cleaner look, because I don't have the greatest penmanship. Okay? Whatever I would write by hand, I'm just trying to put it here on the page, just a little bit cleaner than could be done by hand, and maybe sometimes faster because I can just copy and paste. All right, so now what's going to happen here is that, let me get rid of this part's kind of annoying me right there. But here's what I need to have happen here. I need to get this out of the way so that I can drag this over, and I'm just going to reorder these things. Alright, so meanwhile, I'll turn that background sound off. While I do this, hey, this is the maybe a little bit boring part of it, where you just kind of have to do what needs to get done. If you have any questions, I can probably talk as I do this right here. And then we'll also do number 4, which is going to be based on number 3. All this out here. Do you ever perform, Tim?
Well, lately I've just been taking my equipment out to in the cold weather, a cafe, Sunday mornings actually, and then in the warm weather weekends, any days I want, I go to this coffee roaster. So I'm kind of in the parking lot. It's there's street noise and all that. People sit around, so it's pretty rewarding. I get tips. Good. And I can use it for practice of anything I want.
Yeah. What do you mean your equipment? Like you have amps or what?
Right. I bring a small wireless amp, wireless mic.
Okay.
And I have an MP3. I have a set of hundreds of things on a phone. It's on a phone. Yeah. So I have backup that I've created using software, notation software.
Okay. Maybe you'll, in that email I just sent you, there's a link to join our Discord community. You don't have to do it there, but if you do it there, please go to whatever. You'll see a left sidebar with different channels, which are like different topics. And I don't know, there may be one called technology or whatever seems relevant. Maybe you can post like the your knowledge regarding the amps that you use and stuff like that. Sure. If there's things that you like and you recommend to people, because I know
sure.
That stuff changes, and I haven't I'm not up to date on that stuff.
You got to choose one way or the other. Mainly get something that works for the music and stick with it.
Yeah. All right, so now let's go ahead and play number 2, and then maybe I'll play number 3, and then we'll write out number 4, and then we'll probably wrap things up. So we wrote out 2. Remember what we did? We took number 1 and we just kind of flipped the ornament so that instead of re sa ni sa, it's now ni sa re sa, right? Coming from below, ni sa re sa. Now I'm going to be on the lookout as I play this thing. I'm going to be on the lookout for errors. Looks good to me. Now, one thing that I noticed, is this. I could write a note here, okay? Or one would have to know it. I'll probably write a note. I repeat this all the time. It's so important. we've got two of the same notes in a row right here. We've got a saw and then a saw, ni and then ni, da and then da, pa and then pa. And then here on the ascent of number 2, we've got saw, saw, re, re, ga, ga. All right, Tim, you play flute. Different style of flute, but I'm guessing you've encountered issues. If you try to play two of the same notes in a row, you have to do something or else the second note's not going to be audible, correct? Yes. So I say there's 3 things. You can either breathe or stop your breath, okay, and then start again, or you could gummick, which is an ornament. You can use your finger to kind of break it, separate it with another note, okay, or you can use your tongue on the second note. So that's what I was doing right here. Nis re sa, woo woo woo, tu woo woo woo, tu woo woo woo, tu woo woo woo, tu woo woo woo. All right, so keep that in mind because otherwise the notes blur together and it sounds weird. All right, so let's go like this. Number 3, let me go ahead and play it. This is the one I was actually teaching my student. Why was I teaching him this? Why did I think that he should know this? It's because he started playing a lot. It sounded fine, but there were no ornaments. It was like... All right, that's how most beginner Bansuri players play, completely absent any ornamentation, and it doesn't sound like Indian music because Indian music almost always has ornamentation. So I thought, hey, let's work on ornamentation. If you practice these over and over and over, then the ornamentation should become ingrained in you and hopefully finds expression in your alap. All right, so I'm just going to copy this, and we're going to do the same basic thing to this that we did to the last one to make a new exercise out of it. Sare sani sa. How about we just switch the re and the ni here? So we go sani sa instead of sare sani sa. We're gonna go sani sare sa. Here's how it's written right now. I'm gonna change it so it's here. Let's do it. Now, I can just, I've spotted the pattern. These 2 notes are going to get switched. The ni and the re are going to switch places. All right, so the 2nd and 4th ornament are going to switch places each time. Let me turn this off, and therefore it's going to be ni, re, sa, ga, re, ma. I'm not trying to understand the music right now. I'm just trying to get it all written out correctly, and then I can look at it and analyze it and do whatever I want with it. Play it. Pa, ni, da, sa, ni, re. Now, before I do the second line, let me clean up the first line and play it and look at it and make sure it actually sounds correct, because I don't want to waste my time doing the second line and then realize the whole thing was wrong. But first I need to fix up all these komal notes. All right, good. Sani sari sa, resa rega re, gare gamaga, maga mapa ma, pama pada pa, dapa dani da, nida nisa ni, sani sari sa. Now let's put it to the true test, which is let's play it. It's good practice for me because usually I'm doing number 3. I probably practiced number 3 or played it. It just comes out naturally. So that one I probably just kind of default to in my playing. Whereas this one, I noticed that some of these did not come out naturally feeling. That means, hey, it's good practice for me too. I need to sit here and play these over and over. Who should do scale exercises? Everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or an expert. All right, there's always exercises. It's a standard part of one's practice. Doesn't have to be every day, but it should be like a regular thing that sometimes you just play scale exercises. All right, now let's go ahead and do the same thing here. Just switch notes 2 and 4. The sa will become a da, the da will become a sa. Turn that off. Clean it up. All right, the more komal notes or teevra notes, the more non-should notes that you have in a raga, the harder it is to write, the longer the time it takes to write, the more mistakes you're likely to make just because there's more things on the page. All right, let's try it out. Hit the save button. Don't forget to save regularly. Ooh, right at the end, hey, if you mess up, you got to play the whole thing over. That was good. Sight read it, look at it, make sure you can play it looking at it, make sure that the written music is correct. And then, once you have it memorized, close it. Close your eyes, look away from it, and make sure that you can play it memorized as well. Okay? It doesn't have to be fast. Accuracy first, speed later. All right, good. Now we have a nearly full page of music. Maybe I'll think of something else to put here. I could easily have gone back, like there are easier ornaments. What are easier ornaments? 2 notes added to 1 note. 1 note added to 1 note. It could be the note above it, re sa. It could be the note below it, ni sa. Those would be gummicks. So those are more important than here. I've just kind of assumed that by the time someone gets to this exercise in a relatively advanced raga and gone through the other exercises in the course, that they can probably already do gummicks on these. Hey, maybe not. All right, good. This was the inaugural Bansuri Bliss Composers Circle, and I hope you got a lot out of this. And welcome to the Bansuri Bliss membership. If you can ever show up Saturdays and Sundays, those are fixed times, 11 a.m. Eastern time, every Saturday and Sunday. Those have been going on for years, and it's usually me there. If I can't make it, someone else is there, so that those are always there. So it's good to just put that in your calendar. And otherwise, these Composer Circle sessions will be taking place on weekdays at various times, and I've put up the first 8 weeks worth in the event schedule, bansuribliss.com/events or bansuribliss.com/composers. Any final questions or any thoughts? Was this useful? You think you have a firmer grasp on writing and reading Indian classical music? Let me unmute you.
Yes, it pinned down a lot of things for me that I can now study in detail. And thank you very much. I thank you for the time, putting in the time here. I'm very grateful for the attention and for the learning. I mean,
good.
So the one problem is with the kind of flute I use that the music comes a little. Certain things come easier than playing the instrument correctly. So, for example, I can't do like what they call means, like with, the sliding among isn't possible on the flutes I have. But I will try practicing on my C flute and see if I can work my way up eventually to a bigger one.
Yeah,
we'll try that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm actually working on working my way down smaller to a C flute because I usually always play bigger flutes. So for me, picking up a small flute has its own challenges. So I'm kind of enjoying playing around on this one. Okay, good. Well, I hope to see you again. And let's see if the schedule, just to announce it right here. The next session is Wednesday, August 13th at 8 a.m. Los Angeles time. That means the same time of day, which happens to be 8:30 p.m. India time on Wednesday, August 13th. So I hope to see you there. And I'm going to work on getting this recording posted up on the website, probably in Bansuri Bliss Academy. I haven't decided if I'm going to have a course called Composers or if I'll just put these right on the bansuribliss.com/composers page. But anyway, it'll be up there soon. So thanks for showing up. I am Bansuri Bliss Founder Dr. Kerry Kriger. Enjoy your Bansuri playing. Bye.